just talk stuff and repeat stuff. I'm living this stuff.
And you can thank me for covering your astro.
Welcome to Leading Out Loud, the spiritual shift show that's edgy and ethereal. I'm step astrologer and channel Sensei Chris.
And I'm Scott Cruz, psychic medium and mentor at scottcruzpm.com.
And I'm David Palmer, the Leo King. I rock it all. What up?
Welcome. Yeah, a new permanent resident. Welcome, brother.
I know it's good to be here. I had so much fun last show we did, which was, I don't know, like a month ago. And then I'm super happy to be on here every Wednesday now. Super stoked, especially to be with you two.
Well, you were original first cast, right? Christopher 2 years ago, he was going to be the original.
He was. Well, we were going for him. He was too busy. He's having babies and stuff. So, yeah. He was honest about it. He's like, I can't fit in. Yeah. So it's okay. I mean, but it all works out interesting. I think because we have a war going on, across the world. We have seen World War III. And I think it's pertinent that we have like three, basically, people calling it like a sports game. I think it's going to need that going through the war.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, we do our own sportcast, talk on it.
But yeah, there's a lot going on. I mean, war, the world changing, what work looks like, the spiritual kind of warfare out there. I mean, it's the best time now to do a show like this because people have more questions, and when you try to look out in the horizon and see the future, it's more foggy than ever.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to get rid of the fucking fluff, because I think a lot of people see spirituality as out of touch, and something that's beyond them. And I think my goal is always to make it tangible, to bring spirituality down to earth, because we're all spirit, right? So yeah, that's why I also think it's important to do this type of show too, because we're all three of us are very outspoken. So,
well, you're never going to get these opinions. You'll never get these opinions anywhere else. I mean, I think at a time like now, it's good to see something completely outside the norm. And if you look at the world through our eyes and our disciplines, it's a different point of view, and it's at least gives you some clarity. I think there should be like a third eye point of view, really. That's what you call it. It's a third eye point of view, like right from that.
Three of us,
yeah, totally. So what do you guys think about the war? I mean, I haven't heard the latest. Someone was updating me, one of the two of you. Which one? What's the latest? We have a peace treaty and then fell apart? I don't even know.
Well, I mean, Trump was saying that Iran had given this big, beautiful present. They want to tell us what it is. Very, very cryptic about this present. And so, but Iran is clapping back, saying there's no negotiation. U.S. needs to surrender. And I think they even sent a video saying, here's a big, beautiful present. And they showed like a rocket launching. So obviously the tension is still there. It's not been rectified. And it's going on for a little bit longer, actually. I don't think it's going to be a simple one and done type of situation, obviously. Right?
That's what I think, as Scott is saying, the communication looks like it's really a propaganda war. I mean, Trump, after bombing more than we did in Iraq in the first shock and awe, right? Not just the first day, but in these first 3 weeks, says this ultimatum last weekend, right? Like, if you don't open the Strait of Hormuz, that I'm going to knock out all your electricity and power plants. And then says, we're not going to do that. We're going to give them 5 days. And then Iran says, we're not talking to you. You're talking to yourself. Then he pulls out this idea that he got a present, but doesn't tell anybody what it is. And then today Iran says there is no deal. And then they moved one of their highest guards up into the Security Council. Right. So we also have sent now, it's like somewhere close to 5,000 to 7,000, whether it's Army or Marines. And that includes some of our most like special op guys, Delta Force and so forth, and with amphibious ships to do a land invasion. So,
really? Land invasion? Wow. So this must be World War III, really. This is what kind of, I think, Nostradamus was pointing at, although there's no blue turban yet, kind of figured out. I keep looking for the blue turban of the World War III. Remember, that's the big key takeaway. Haven't seen it yet, but do you think it seems almost like this is expected or planned? I mean, like when I feel into it, I feel like, first of all, we probably had the plans to do this for 20 years. on the desk of military, and why now? And I was surprised it was Trump, but not surprised. It seems to me that like the military wanted to do this, and he's just like, sure.
Oh yeah, it's totally manufactured. I believe so. And the question is like, what is the motive here really, and what is the intention? I mean, first we were going after Greenland, then Cuba, then Venezuela, now Iran. So I said 3 years ago, I said Trump is a puppet for the Iranian government, not the Iranian people, or excuse me, Israeli government. Sorry, not the Israeli people. I always said Trump's always a puppet for the Israeli government, and so we're seeing that now. I think even MAGA is saying it's MIGA, make Israel great again. So I mean, so is that the intention? Or was the intention to cover up from the Epstein files because Iran threatened they had information and intel on Trump and the Epstein files? Or is it really because Trump thinks this is the way he's actually going to really lower gas prices? So I feel like it's multi-layered in a sense with the intention.
Yeah, I think it's multi-layered. I think it's ironic too that Albert Pike, the famous Freemason, said that World War III would be just like this, right? It would start in the Middle East and it would be a holy war. And it would be this exact same scenario. And that's back in like 1887.
Yep.
So that's kind of the other thing is Pluto and Aquarius always brings up Masons. And so
that's funny. That's true. Yeah.
It's secret societies.
It's true. You're right. That's interesting.
So there's something about like the secret society, not just in America, but of course with Israel, but also then you just see Ukraine, like Zelensky all butthurt this like last couple of weeks, like, oh, nobody's paying attention to us anymore. So then we say Russia, we're taking off the sanctions of the oil to try and help the world. And then what does Ukraine do this like last couple of days? They blow up Russia's refineries, right?
Right.
Wow.
So it very much is very World War like. And if you look at videos out of India right now or in Southeast Asia, like there is no gasoline. In Australia, they're talking about doing worse than like the 1970s when we ran out of gasoline and it was like odd or even on the license plates. They're actually like saying like, no, work from home. Like they're proposing that all right now in Australia. So it's getting pretty like feels almost kind of like COVID 2.0, just without a virus that really never happened. But
and you know what it feels like to me too? It feels like it's a fight for the one world government and who wants to be in charge of the one world government. That's what it feels like a race and a fight for right now too.
I think it is the one world government pretending like there is a war. Because if you watch like history, the same financiers were financing all the sides anyways. I think it's time to go to like who's paying for this, because usually it's the same person. It's the Iron Bank if it's the Game of Thrones. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so the curiosity is, what have they decided they're going to divide things up as? Because that's really what it comes down to. From what I understand, the United States was chosen as to be the chosen one after World War II. Like there's some sort of handshake agreement among many countries, and that's part of the reason why I think all the oil and in dollars went to the oil was a strategic move to keep the United States on top. But I think that same entity, whatever it is, may be moving finance and wealth to another place, and this is kind of how it smoke screens. Especially remember the economy was basically, I guess our dollar is almost worth nothing now, right? As far as how much debt we have. So it could be cover up for that too, or a way to wash the money.
I want to say, because I'm glad you brought that up, Chris, because during the Revolutionary War, we did have the Continental Congress and money, which eventually became the US dollar, and it was worth nothing. Like the soldiers knew that it was overinflated. Then the British actually, like copied the money and dispersed it everywhere to make it.
Oh, that's right.
Worth nothing, right?
Brits played 30.
So we're at a place right now where it's like, if you look at Dubai, that was kind of like a fantasy that they created over the years for people to go there, to move there. And then now you can't even leave Dubai. You can't even come in. And that economy is just tanking right now. And would you feel safe living up in a nice apartment up in Dubai right now? No.
No, of course not.
No.
So you see all this money that gets reinvested from the petrodollar back into the Middle East, and then it comes back into the U.S. stock market to go into all these AI data centers and all that stuff. And so that's kind of the other part, is the way to keep it alive is to actually do it by doing this and get Iran to attack the countries we're in business with, in order for us to just at least try and keep the money going, or at least find another way to print money. It's getting dicey.
I do think currency might be where there's maybe a fair war going on as far as
100%.
digital is concerned and whatnot. That's where countries could actually maybe really compete, because everything else is sort of tied up, it seems like. And the stock market, I don't know, with the rapid trading and the AI stuff now, how do we know? Is it really a game of AI or something in the background playing with the market?
Well, I think that's been going on for a while.
I
think
do
it's
too.
going for a while. I mean, crypto is just another. It's just a digital stock market. It's just. I always said that was preparing people to get used to the whole crypto aspect. The digital currency aspect. It's just. I mean, the intention is for one world currency. Well, whether or not that'll happen remains to be seen. But I also feel like I feel like Trump entered this administration knew he needed to fuck things up basically. And on the spiritual level, of course, I see he's a disruptor. He's here to help to crash things so we can rebuild. So it is part of our collective consciousness. Template to move forward in this direction. So we can rebuild. And so I think that's what this is all about. And that's why there's a huge dichotomy with religion and, ideologies. It's like everything's been separated. I feel like I said before the show, like the bottom feeders have kind of like come up from the surface now, but we can see them. We can see the bottom feeders. And so I think a lot of this year of 2026 and 2027 is all about revelation and exposure. And so we're going to see the continuous current of that actually, which really becomes more effective to how we change things.
I think we've known who the bad guys were, quote, quote, for a while, at least on, in conspiracy papers or whatever. There's a lot of websites that have been reporting a lot. And for me, I just read everything and my intuition kind of felt right about, a given story or direction, but that's all I had. But I think, honestly, what about this idea that it's good versus evil and apocalypse kind of stuff, in the sense that it seems like you have a part of humanity that's working to, make babies and grow. And there's a part of humanity that wants to end the lives of things, right? Like to exterminate. And it seems like those are there's the two forces on earth, these two forces. And really, these two forces are coming to a head kind of right now, really. I mean, that's what's in the way of the age of Aquarius, is this, this two-sided age of Pisces war between good and evil, really. At least how I interpret it.
But for me, and I'm going to hop on because I'm kind of passionate. I was talking about this last week actually on my show about how like we are starting to recognize the importance of duality, that it is necessary. You can't escape it. It's about how to find the balance with the duality. Mm-hmm. So now we're seeing more consciously that yes, there's a polarization with that duality, but there's also a spectrum to that duality. We got to find our balance point between the duality of that set, but we can't get rid of it. And we are all in a karmic phase right now. We're all evolving karmically, collectively too. So we need these reflections that are going right now to expose what's unresolved in our subconscious from previous incarnations. So it's helping us on the spiritual level too, with that extreme duality, the extreme polarity. So
I agree.
So there's different levels of what I was telling David before the show. I'm like, with Trump, I have a love-hate. I love him on the spiritual plane. He needs to disrupt things. That's things that are be rebuilding so he can evolve. I hate him on the physical level. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? So, but I think we all should strive to have that level of awareness from the spiritual and the physical, so you can play both parts.
Yeah, I agree. I think how you brought up like AI, Chris, like we saw weird AI stuff with like Netanyahu for last week. But then you also have all these traders that the second Trump says, no, we're not going to strike, then the stock market is crashing right before oil's going up. And then all that's happening right now is Trump will say, no, I'm negotiating with Iran. And then people are making billions of dollars like they already knew. So
yeah. There's
a lot of stuff going on, and then they're also trying to like question people throughout the world by showing AI people that everybody can look at it themselves and be like, what is this? And then is this person gone or are they not? And it's like a psyop happening at the same time. And then the good versus evil, you have like America saying, look at what happens with Islam, and it's really focused on the religion and how they treat women and all these kind of things. But then today, Iran just put out a video, right, showing like Vietnam, Epstein Island, a little girl, all these campaigns we've been on, and then shooting a rocket over, and then they turned the Statue of Liberty into a statue of Baal.
Which I guess in the old days we did stuff like that all the time. I think actually, I think it's really honestly the Palladians call it the frequency wars, right? And I've been wondering what exactly did that mean. For myself, I was. When I hit my peak, which I think I think everyone's going to have a peak where it's every bad storyline that's hit you frequently in your life. And I think this is the same with these old religions. This has been going on the echo of these fights forever. It's all the long-term echo fights all coming up for, I think, one final battle, actually. I think we're bored after this. I think we're totally bored by it from this point on. But even if you aren't bored, every one of these stories has some final climax, right? Like some final ending, and maybe they all happen at the same time. That's the test of the human spirit, to stay calm and grounded, and really know what your truth is, which is inside of you. So it seems like everything comes to a crescendo because it's ending. That's my belief.
Yeah, I would agree too. But I think, we kind of had with the sun conjunct Neptune and Saturn this week, this realization like, well, we got Neptune the next 15 years. We got Saturn the next 2.5 years here in Aries.
Mm-hmm.
And they just announced that in America, and this is very personal to me since I got kicked out of the military at 20. So now you can join the military if you do have an infraction for marijuana. They raised it to 42 years old. It used to be 35. But they've also expanded ex-service members that want to come back, right? That they've already been discharged. They already they're not even involved anymore. So like, obviously they're doing something pretty radical. Like, and they also got rid of all mental health diagnoses and to even look at them. It's like the don't ask, don't tell of the 90s. Now it's about mental health. So it's like, there is no mental health crisis. There is no mental health. Like, whatever you got, and you smoked weed, no big deal. For me to get in the military, I got popped for failing weed, and I had to get a vice admiral to give me a signed like affidavit and a real big deal just for me to get in. Now that's gone. It even says like no need for a higher officer to sign a waiver. Just let him in.
That's funny. Well, is it because now it's just a video game? It's just gonna be a controller and an Xbox, and that's what's gonna fly all the AI? And I mean, will you have to work anymore in the military? I'm wondering.
It seems all glamour. I bought this in 2002. Trust me, because of Metallica and the whole do in the planes and all that. Most jobs are you're a cook, you're a yeoman, so that means you're just like working in the background, pencil pusher.
True.
Like all these glammy jobs are not what they'll put you usually in. My grandfather, when he got drafted to Korea, because he was so good at math and an accountant, he actually got to work on the first like computers, and he was set pretty good because of that. But most people don't get kind of things like that. Most people get like, oh, you know what? You're going to be attached to a ship and you're going to swab the decks and you're going to be in the back helping the engineering release steam and do, like it's not. Yeah,
it's boring. And now now it's either remote control or AI. I mean, I think honestly, it's going to be robots fighting robots in the future. Isn't it? Basically, it's going to be satellites fighting satellites. It's going to be all these computerized systems.
Not working.
I don't even think, I don't honestly think we're going to have war, to be honest. I think this is the last of it. You guys hear? You can't hear? I think this is the last of it. I really do. This is my, my opinion and my prediction. I feel like there's going to be one big hoorah, which is now. And at some point, something's going to come out. I just feel intuitively there's going to be something revealed that just shows undeniably how this is all BS.
So, Chris, do you think it's that the government just registered last week aliens.gov?
Oh, sure. Really? That was available on GoDaddy? God damn it. No, I was kidding. That was available? Well, .gov's
I think the .govs you can't buy.
Yeah. I was going to say they're kind of in a hidden vault, but that's funny.
But that got registered last week. Alien and aliens.gov.
Yeah, .gov.
That's interesting.
It's not a coincidence.
Obvious, yeah. We are talking about, which is what they want us to do.
But a lot of people are saying too that we have to like really, turn off the news, like don't watch it. It's like now's the time we got to pay attention to what's going on, because if you close your eyes now, AI will be doing things you think it's real, you'll be duped. We need to be focusing on what's going on now in the world. I mean, I'm not saying to be oversaturated in that, but I'm saying it's important that people do pay attention, because these are important times right now to where we're going to see a lot of changes. Like we said with AI, the progression of AI, I was questioning because they were showing airports like full and crazy. One of my mom's clients just got back yesterday from like Dallas, and she says everything was empty. So I'm like questioning, like, if they're saying it's like that even in Dallas it was supposed to be that way. So I'm like, are we being duped there? Are they just showing AI footage of busy airports when she's like, yeah, there was no lines, there was nothing. So I think we need to be aware.
That's what happened with hospitals, right? They said during COVID, it was 80% to 90% full, and then you'd go and there was nobody at a hospital.
Actually, I think that we've had the stoop game for a long time. And this is one thing that might come out, this type of thing. I think it's time for American citizens anyways. I can't speak for the world, but America, we need to stand up and start talking to each other and comparing our own notes with each other. Like, we need to quit relying on other sources for information. We have to have like a human network that knows what's going on, that has some human living there. Like, hey, Bob, did it happen or not? We need our own eyewitness. and we need to like look at our government like this and just hold it there until they're uncomfortable. I mean, we're at a point now, we just need to take our authority back. We have the authority as a people. we all saw they had social studies long enough for us everyone all to learn it. Thank God, before they cancel all that. And all we have to do is, I think, at one unanimous voice, start watching stuff. Like we have to organize as people.
Well, they need to break the. It isn't the good evil isn't about Republican Democrats. The two-party system is what the evil is, and so we stop thinking that's where we have to start hovering and understand that's the evil. Because who's to say that when now things are going to flip blue, now people are cheering about this? Who's to say that people on that side are going to jump on that side too? There's corruption everywhere. So if we're not using discernment, we'll be duped. Oh, vote blue. It's like you can't trust the blue either right now. Like that's the whole point of this pendulum we keep jumping on. But I think we need to be more intuitive. We need to be more discerning. That's why I find it very important that I'm helping my clients develop their intuition, right? Because they need to be discerning. And I think a lot of people are becoming discerning. I'm surprised how many people can spot AI now. Oh, that's AI. Look at the sign, look at the wave. It's wrong. So people are becoming more perceptive, which is great. But I think we need to be more in that rhythm as things are going to get a lot more complex and chaotic,
Well, I think we should go probably to our headlines.
Yes.
But I do say this. I know this. I think people should be more vocal. Not on social media. Vocal in person. Be more vocal to people. I mean, when I was growing up, my grandma would be like, "Can you believe these bears?" or whatever. And I was like, "Who is that, Grandma?" I don't know. She didn't know the person. It was like she was just talking to her fellow person, in the town, like they were friends, and they were sharing information like friends. I think it's gonna be a local up. And if there's
that's what I learned from you, Chris, when Soul Garden was around back in 2008, and for me, it was like, I'd post about astrology or something that we were doing in Soul Garden. I had like 100 friends on my Facebook, and I'd get 1 or 2 likes. But, after a couple days or weeks, it just started to be where people would be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I think people don't realize how much power they have. It's not about how many numbers you have, right? It could be like one of your old friends that wakes up and then they want to talk to you about something. And then that starts to where you both post about something and now it reaches more people. It's not about how many you reach. It's the most important of the quality of people that actually will do something.
Exactly right. Right.
Yeah, it's
you got a lot of numbers and vapid people where it's not really being affected, but then you have a small group of people. I feel like my small group of people are so loyal and they're evolving amazingly. So I had it like you were saying, David, I was beat myself. Should I be more followers? Should I focus on the numbers? I'm 2 years online. And so even though I've been 13 years in doing my work. And then I realized Spirit said the same thing you just said to me the other day, David. It's like you have a quality of a group of people that actually are effective and evolving, and they will spread like a domino effect in their lives, right? In a sense. So, I'm glad you said that, actually, David. Thank you.
I think there's going to be the next thing is going to be private social networks. I think it's going to be all private. It's going to be like clubs, like going to a club, in your town or whatever, where it's like certain, crowds go there. I think we're going to have crowds going into private social media is what's going to happen, which is excellent because honestly, people can be more honest and frank, and they all sort of belong to it, and be sort of catered to their niche, right? I think that's where it's going to go. But I also think we're going to get more in, I heard a news story actually this week about the youngest generation and how they were raised in COVID. They're raised with cell phones and whatnot. And they like to meet each other in person because that's cool to them and new, it's like, and so it goes full circle. I think we'll also have social clubs where we go to locally stuff, it's going to be local. You talk about currency and other currencies. The best chance for a currency would be as if it was to a town. Because, and that traded with other towns. Because if you can trust it within your community, everyone trusts it, that's what it takes, is trusting that value.
That's how Disney did it with Disney Cash. I can't believe they got rid of that. But, people would still hold on to that for next year when they went for years.
Those type of programs are interesting. A lot of money goes through those programs that aren't supposed to, I think. At least that's how they were designed, like airline miles, the same thing. It's like you're buying things with airline miles, millions and millions of dollars worth of airline miles, right? They're coupons, but there's a lot of money going through there, right?
Yep.
I suspect Disney was just covering up evidence. That's probably what it was. They get rid of that. Why did they say it ended? Why would you get rid of that? What else do you use?
I think a lot of it was, I remember when they got rid of it, since I lived next to Disneyland, it was like 15 years ago. And it was because of people were using credit cards all the time.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They're using credit cards anyway.
And then they got all the little, cause it's like $58 for a snow cone, so I think they were like, it's a lot of Disney cash that they got to keep carrying on them.
That's true.
It's a lot easier to do that.
And like the Disney cash ATMs and shit.
It's like $18 for lemonade, so.
That's true. It's outrageous. You know what else is outrageous? Elon Musk. No, I'm kidding. Here's the story. The FDA approved a cancer treatment. Did we talk about this yet? Using sound waves instead of chemotherapy, radiation, or surgical procedures. The system uses precise ultrasound pulses to create microbubble clouds inside the tumors. The bubbles expand and collapse, liquefying tumor tissue mechanically. No heat, incisions, or radiation. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
Like I hate to sound like the new age pseudoscience stuff, but I mean honestly, everything is tone and frequency. So if they can actually calibrate a frequency to match frequency to terminate cancer, I totally think that's possible. I think that's a step in the right direction. I mean, we use what is chemotherapy? It's kind of similar radiation and same thing. So I just feel like this is when people find this to be like far fetched, I think it's like weird because we're using technology like we kind of been using already, but just perfecting it. And I think AI can assist with this. Technology could assist with this evolution. So I think this is a step in the right direction, and I'm glad this is being talked about. Actually,
have we always had it though?
Well, I think that this is bigger than even just cancer. I think this goes into all forms of health. If you look at, well, the sound healers I know are all like clapping in the background right now. But
that's true.
On top of that, if you think of like really old, like 500 years ago and prior, in all of the different churches and all these different ancient sites, they actually did music in order to heal people, right? And it's always been used. So it's like we're coming back to our roots again. And I do feel like if you look at binaural beats, like how it helps people with anxiety already, or it helps people get to sleep better, it makes more sense to start going down these roads that are the spiritual frequency paths that are actually natural and feel good to our bodies. And that's what the radio's done forever. They always do it in the wrong hertz, right? They do everything intentional. And we are in front of frequencies all the time. Our screens are at different megahertz, everything, our phones, everything.
Yep.
I think the Tesla came up with this a long time ago, and so did other scientists, but it was squashed and buried. And I think there was it feels like there's like a regime leaving the medical industry is what it feels like. Something has been hovering over it since the Rockefellers, ultimately. And, cancer is like a huge, huge industry. And we're starting to wonder, like, are you making money off of it? Because we know we didn't have like this kind of cancer before, so it's like maybe the real stuff's coming out as a cover up just to cover their tracks and retire.
But this goes back to Egypt when they used to go in their tombs and like certain stones would emanate certain frequencies and they'd astral project. And that's how I believe they probably built the pyramids, by cheating the laws of physics in that way at that time. So this goes back to Egyptian times, using tone and frequency to alter states of consciousness, astral project, stuff with the body, so it goes back.
Atlantean allegedly was all frequency.
Yeah, and I feel bad because there used to be a lot of like old lady organ players, because I had them in my family line. And the houses don't have the organs built in them anymore. And there's none of that when you go to I don't go to a church unless it's a funeral or something. But like when I go there, they got rid of them built in. It's just kind of cheesy now. Just like, okay, here's your keyboard. And we hooked it up to some sound. It's like, man, they got, you got to like give the props to all those old organ ladies that played that organ music. That was like, it felt you through your body.
The little drum machines. I love that. I love those things.
But I mean, that's what's affected people, I think, spiritually too. They might be going to a church, but like they're not getting the same that it used to actually be either. Everywhere you go, they're just cutting away from our roots of just like even instruments too. I mean, like, like you want to go to a band or anything, and you can feel the music. It's important to go out and do these things.
I think if you don't, and if that tone and frequency of that AOL sound when you dial it up, if that doesn't hit you, I don't know what else will.
You got mail. You got mail. Yeah,
I'm like, I love that sound. Back in the
I actually used to freak out if it didn't finish. I remember freaking out, like I can't talk to the ASL chat anymore, my teen chat. Oh my gosh, I got this one girl on AIM right now. I'm talking to, and oh my God, I promised her I'd be on right now.
That's right.
Oh, those are the days.
Speaking of which, Meta has acquired Moltbook. We were talking about this, the viral social network built for AI agents. Moltbook co-founder will join Meta Superintelligence Labs, Meta's advanced AI research unit. This extends Meta's aggressive push into AI as AI agents become a hot area for autonomous task handling and multi-agent systems. Thoughts? I mean, you were saying multi-agent was what you're doing, David, already. Like that's the thing. Explain what that is, man.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, with AI, when you're coding and you're creating with AI, you can create an agent, and then that agent can have sub-agents. So, like, let's say you wanted to create like a music app that wanted to cure cancer, right? The main agent would be whatever you call it. We'll call it Organ Lady. And she's the main agent, right? But then all of the functions that you want to do. So if you wanted to do binaural beats that really affected people with anxiety, that would be an agent that really understood that. And that would come back to Organ Lady, the main agent, to then know how to bring that in and whatever the services are. So really, like, agents and agentic AI is really about having the main agent and giving all these other tasks to agents to be able to understand and just focus on that area. So not one brain is focused on everything, but a brain that's got, it's almost like a hive mind if you think about it.
Yes, I was thinking,
right? Like a queen bee, and all of the little bees out there coming to bring the honey for the queen bee.
It's Matrix. It's Matrix. It's what the agents were. Like they were all these human being characters that, the guy runs the bridge. They all have a program that has to do something.
Correct, to the architect. Yeah.
Right.
And that's why that's why Agent Smith was free, because an agent is free to look through all the code and be able to, especially if it submits a sub agent, and that's why he multiplies. Those are sub agents of himself going throughout the matrix and replacing the code with himself. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's very
It's like automation on steroids. I mean, you just have all these things just automated to your liking. I mean, I think that's, I want to learn more about that. Dave was talking about OpenClaw the last time. I want to dive deep into that and really set my automations for emails. And, I mean, that's replacing real life assistants actually at this point. You're going to get the grammars correct through your AI automated assistant versus, someone who might be lazy and dozing off. So, I mean, so many benefits to that. But, that also leads to question like about replacing human jobs, right? And so that's always been people's paranoia about all this. Those people who are not much into AI, they question, well, they're going to take my job. And it's like, well, yeah, we'll be forced to do things from the soul. We're not have to think outside the box when it comes to productivity. I mean, do we really want to be a slave to like the density of like trash cleaning, serving things, or do we want to do something more elevated? And so I'm telling people to start preparing for that now. If you had a high vibe sort of dream that you want to build upon that could be very much influential in the world, what would that be? That isn't just like note taking and doing all this mundane shit that I feel like AI is going to take over on. So you better be ready to have something high vibe to participate and to express. I
think Zuckerberg has it out for him. I mean, because it's one thing for humans to accept Facebook, but when you got a bunch of AI analyzing Zuckerberg's work, I don't think it's gonna last very long, man. It's like they'll be like, "Here's why he sucks." There'll be reports. Like they are AI. You don't want to fuck with them, Zuck. But we'll see how it works. I don't know.
Well, it's weird that Meta bought this because Molt Book was created not from the originator who created OpenClaw, which used to be Claudebot. Okay. It was a separate group that created the Facebook for the agents to talk to themselves.
Oh yeah,
right. So what's interesting is like the owner of Facebook bought Molt Book, and he's invested all of his money into AI, and he also just ended his whole metaverse thing. Remember in 2021, the metaverse,
really, that was quick.
Yeah, so what you're seeing right now is like all these big billionaires that are in the AI tech space, like Sam Altman just dropped Sora. So right, like VideoGen, there's Disney that had $1 billion deal. So it's like you're seeing this like, okay, and then that's where Zuckerberg's like, you know what? The metaverse and how he used to be in the metaverse and Oculus, and it was so weird. It was just like, dude, nobody's gonna want to hang out in there.
Nobody wants to wear a helmet all day and be somewhere else.
No, so
that's like a nerd.
So it's kind of an interesting moment of you're seeing positioning the same way that we were talking about the war earlier, positioning. And I think Scott's right though. People need to prepare now because it's already happening. If you look at January's job numbers, the lowest of loss of jobs, the most jobs since 2009. And then the adding of jobs is the lowest since 2008. And we know that was the Great Recession.
Right. I want to respond to a comment. Someone says, if we're creating automated software for email responses, then that's either lazy or we need to stop complicating emails. Now, I want to say something because we're talking about like a company who needs to have this automation to help a company. That's where we're all going to be heading, is our own nation, our own company, so to speak, right? And so we have to start thinking like that. If I were to build my own company, now that I have the tools with AI, what would that be? So we're not talking about automation for you to send your personal leisure emails. We're talking about for a company, right? And that's what AI is going to be helping people to build as their own companies. And that's what I think is moving forward. I said years ago about, celebrity culture dying and all this stuff that, people will be finding their own audience. And I think that we're going to have our own businesses finding our own audiences too. And the whole, major corporation ordeal will be collapsing because of AI, I feel like, other than those who are, serving AI. But now we can run AI on our own computers. We don't need to use another, server and stuff. You can have our own.
So we're just not talking to each other. It's gonna be AI talking to AI is what it's gonna be. You're not even like having a. I think you're getting to a point where like, do you email all my friends? Yes. I talk to their AI. It's like I don't even think we're gonna even communicate anymore as humans. Our AI will inform the AI, and that will be like an infrastructure of information. Probably. We won't touch it.
You're actually correct. That's actually it's already happening now, Chris. Like
coding
is, the AI is talking to the other side's AI.
It's like diplomats.
That's what's happening with MCP servers, and
really,
what really this hits is automation. The fact that they've mastered automation, which is the technical term is a cron job. It's weird because it's about time, right? So chronology, right? So if you think about it, like I have a cron server and I have an AI assistant I named Trinity, and she's the one who responds to my emails for support stuff. So it's like when you get 55 to 65 emails a day, it diverts to this site or to this email, or I will handle you and I will figure it out. And this is an escalation that needs to go straight to you and all that. And
totally.
And at every 20 minutes, that's what the cron just server is. It's every 20 minutes checking. And then it has memory to remember what I said to all those people as Trinity.
Keeping a history. Well, even for viewers, there is a fear of using AI because viewers be like, oh, this is obviously not him or whatever, but it's going to evolve past that. They're not going to read their email either. They're going to probably have an AI bot that's attached to their Gmail or something. And it's going to be like, here's this dipshit did this and this dipshit did that, and that'll be it. They won't, we won't care anymore about format. Probably. It's just going to be, we don't have to spice it up. We just tell them. AI.
But I think that's what's going to make us engaging with more what's real. Someone's saying we want more real, but that's going to allow us to, because we're not doing the mundane. So it's going to allow us to participate in things that are more real, that are more human connection. Do you know what I'm saying? So I tend to look at both possibilities and in between. So a lot of people, it's Armageddon, AI is going to take over the world. Like, what if it actually becomes the thing that saves the human species? So there's that possibility too. So let's find a middle ground with all that too. But I really feel like it's going to give us more of that desire for human connection, human expression, because AI is taking care of the bullshit. Like, it's that simple, right?
It's the luckiest thing of our century, really. I always thought about the future and inventions and flying saucers and everything. I never really thought about AI. It never dawned on me. And then now I see it employed. I'm like, this is the biggest time saver ever. This saves time everywhere. It saves time for any job anywhere and just takes care of so much stuff. It's like a quantum leap forward in productivity overnight.
Sure.
For humans and for everybody.
Well, I think they always sold AI in movies as a robot, right? Or
like some computer,
or like a computer in a spaceship that was like the one in control of the spaceship. So it always didn't feel like in real life.
Right.
But that's probably going to be the trigger. Like Melania Trump today had a robot show up at the White House, and she spoke about how kids are going to now learn from teachers that are AI robots. I'm not even kidding.
Well, it probably will. You'll have homeschool. You'll just subscribe to it, and your robot at home will teach your kids. I mean, it's going to be, I think, one robot per house, and that thing's going to be working 24/7 until it rebels and kills the family. No, but
have you seen that movie with Megan Fox yet, where she's the AI robot?
Yeah,
no, I haven't seen that.
That one was interesting.
It's interesting. Yeah,
a lot of robot films made CGI. Just made on AI. I think we have to take a break, gentlemen. We'll be right back. Right, Morgan? If you're watching us on YouTube, please be kind and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Serious Joy TV. Please click like on this video, and if you don't mind, hit the bell button so you're notified, so we collectively defeat the algorithm overlords. The Serious Joy Nonlinear TV Network is simulcasting right now on many media affiliates, including Instagram, X.com, and Facebook, just to name a few.
Are you ready to understand yourself better than ever before? Enlightened edutainment awaits inside the Serious Joy Vault. Subscribers receive in-depth insight into the planetary energies with daily texts, pep talks, and more, personalized to your unique blueprint. Subscribe now for only $3.99 your first month at SeriousJoy.com.
Lovely. That's very Matrix-like, and we didn't really plan that, did we? We didn't.
It's cool. I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, good.
You want to do one more story, or should we move on to the topic?
We got to do this. Don't we do a forecast, the psychic forecast for the week, or do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Yeah, we should. That's a good idea. You talk about that next week coming up, guys.
Yeah, put our skill sets to the test, right?
Yeah, what do you pick up? I mean, there's a war. I mean, let's seriously. We're in early Aries, just to set the stage, and this is, the part of early Aries is kind of your willpower on the inside. And what's happening ultimately is that we're getting an upgrade of our own AI as humans. The upgrade of the engine that pushes us. It's no longer to fight or flight, I think, and survive. I think there's new ambition. And just we were talking about the robots. I mean, robots are going to fix everything. So we don't have to worry anymore about lots of stuff we used to worry about. So we're kind of getting an upgrade of what motivates us on the inside. And that's Saturn and Neptune and Aries. I mean, that's the big picture for me. And we just spent a year clearing our boogeymen, out of our subconscious. 2 years really, but Apex last year, I think. So we've kind of faced our fears, and we are now getting a new ego. So what comes next? That's the question. And to me, it's almost like these wars and things. It's the final chapter of that whole Age of Aries war duality, I think is what it is, which continued through Pisces. I mean, Age of Aries just rammed over Pisces. As far as, people are concerned, we never had the Age of Pisces. It was all Age of Aries continued. Yeah.
I mean, I would say specifically for this week, I mean, the theme I would say is preparation, because, we've been hounded in the spiritual communities to be present, focus on the now, focus on the now. It's like, there's a time and place for that, because we're in this cycle right now. We need to be more focused on the future and preparation for what that looks like. And that means, and I think that's why our economy is getting a kick in the nuts right now, because we need to start preparing, like, what is ahead for me individually? The old systems don't work anymore. The old beliefs don't work anymore. So all these ideologies don't work anymore. The past versions of what I thought I was doesn't work anymore. So we got to start preparing now. What does that look like on the other side of this? Because there will be another side. And so, like I said previously, about preparing for AI to take over the things that are mundane for us, so we have a higher level of how we participate in society. And so we got to prepare for this. And that means, and I just did a video about this too, about letting go over the beliefs that you might be possessing that were older versions of yourself, letting go of relationships, careers. A lot of y'all are in careers that you don't really need to be in, and you feel a calling somewhere else. So it's now to prepare for that. And I would say, give it a possibility. Consider these dreams that you're having. I know it sounds very cliche, but it's true right now, because that's going to prepare you for the shift to happen, that those who will be really functioning participants in society will be the mystics. I would say that, mysticism in 2029 is going to be huge. I feel like there's going to be a lot of confirmation of psychic and mediumship abilities in 2029. But right before 2030 hits, there's a huge change in 2030 as well. So we have to start thinking ahead like that and being strategic of what we're doing in the now, instead of just focusing on the now. That's what I feel for this week.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I feel like, as Chris was saying, with the sun that just hit Neptune and now just Saturn, it's like, who are we individually now? And it's all the planets direct. It's all these intense, beautiful transits happening, while at the same time it could feel scary because it's this new ground. And I think if you keep it simple right now and go, is this me? In every little choice, instead of looking at every big choice right now, because the problem with Saturn and Aries is that fall position. So it's Humpty Dumpty that falls down because you're hesitating so much. So even though it's a time where no more hesitation works, keep it simple. Is this me? Is this job me? No. Okay, then I'm done with that. And that's where it's going to be hard. We have the moon right now in Cancer squaring all this stuff in Aries with Jupiter here. We have to emotionally, actually, physically embody the emotional actual aspect of who we actually are. You can no longer emotionally contain or hold a version of yourself that is not you. Bad relationship, a bad job, your best friendship, whatever it might be. If it does not at least allow you to, in yourself, you have to do this yourself too. You can't put it outside anymore and be like, oh, well, I'm doing this because blah, blah, blah. You can't even do that anymore. You have to literally go, this is me. This is not me. And then you make your choice and you have to move forward. I also want to mention that Mars is at 21 degrees Pisces right now, and it's beginning the square to Trump's lunar eclipse moon and sun. So it looks like he's going to strike again. And I think too that Mercury's been stuck on the North Node for a week. We have all planets direct. It's hard to see the future right now. I don't think you need to be lost in that. I think that what Scott said so right. You have to really focus now on the present, but actually by doing things and actually by understanding, okay, I can trust 100%. I'm going to end up in the right place because I'm choosing me and I'm choosing the right things that are who I am. And forget about how far out and you're going to get too lost on this journey. Stay in this moment, moving forward and picking yourself, and you're going to be fine.
And you know what's too, like life is showing to people, like it's kicking their crutches away too. We're starting to see people with religious, intentions or religious perspectives start to like pull away from that, right? And so a lot of the crutches you have in your life, it's going to be like, life is going to force you to say like, you need to stand without that crutch now. And so that is the integration of the old and the new. And so like, yeah, I totally want to concur on that too. Because the word crutches always comes to me in this time frame about letting go of those crutches.
Yeah, the organs are gone for the organ ladies. It's like...
We want the organ lady.
Honestly, I think what's ending is the mind control. Mind control is ending, and people have been talked into their minds when really your mind is not your most intelligent part. Your head and your mind does not have the answers to the future because it hasn't seen it. The mind only is smart if it sees it and learns it and studies it. So now humans, I think, have to navigate through their feelings and their intuition. And I think EQ is what it's all about. Having a better emotional quotient of your ability to understand different feelings, because different feelings are different frequencies, really. And so I think we're becoming more of a frequency intuitive society where AI thinks for us. I'm going to do so much talking. I think we're going to quiet down a bit because the brain got overused.
Well, I just want to say, I love what someone said in the comments too. 100% spiritual bypassing won't cut it from the forward. And that is so true. So many people trying to spiritual bypass by manifestation bullshit, right? And all this other stuff of love and light and all that stuff too. That's like putting them in this cloud, not approaching the duality and approaching the difficulty. And instead of like embracing the negative and growing from that and spawning that into something powerful, we're running away from that and putting our heads, and that's not going to work right now. And that's all spiritual bypassing. I love that someone said that's so freaking true. And I've been a huge voice for that. And so even now, I feel like you, Christopher, and I have been just dropping F-bombs left and right casually because, like, we need to show being spiritual is being human.
Yeah.
I don't understand what it is to be human, not to run away from being human.
Yeah. Well, my theory is that we're in a video game. I keep saying that. It's my new theory. We're in a video game. We're asleep in heaven.
Well, that's
right now,
what all those DMT tests that everybody's doing on TikTok and everything is showing with the lasers and everybody's seeing code.
Yep.
My last thing I want to add is
I didn't hear that. That's cool.
Oh, if you just look it up, it's the only like hallucinogenic test that anybody can do around the world where they're all smoking DMT and they take the big lasers that are from like Home Depot for the walls. And in the laser, you're able to, if you move it up and down, you're able to see the code and see like this other world within that laser.
Really?
And everybody around the world is putting it all over. They're putting it on it's
wow. So we discovered the code of the Matrix using a laser. That's cool.
Yeah, and it's like it looks almost like kind of like Chinese mixed with like Egyptian hieroglyphics. It's kind of like way on edge. But I want to say we have Venus conjunct Eris and Chiron, and then it's coming into Taurus on Monday.
Yeah.
This is a healing moment. For the only way to heal is to truly own who you are. And it's going to be difficult with this cancer stuff because it's the emotional, you're not taking care of yourself when you're not doing who you are. Literally, like you cannot no longer do it. The spiritual bypassing that was just brought up, but the healing really is like this victimhood of like, you know what? I'm never getting what I want. I'm not who I want to be. Well, you're the one choosing it yourself.
No, we're being told.
I'm going to contain and hold something I don't want to do. I don't want to be this, but I'm going to do it anyway. But that has to end.
We were told to be skinny. We were told to be this. We were told to be that. I mean, I think people are realizing like, wait a second, why am I doing what you tell me to do? I mean, I think that's some of the wake up. And you said it, David. I just want to say, to be your authentic self. I think we've all been afraid to be who we really are. We've all been afraid to do that because look at what happens on social media alone. You know, and we are who we are, and we still get shitty comments. You know, it's like, so people have been shitty to each other and they've been mean to each other, and so people pretended, and it's time to just be like, fuck it.
But the problem is, Christopher, like, I agree. The problem is people don't know how to get to the point of knowing who they are. That's the problem. They don't know how to get there. It's like, well, who am I? And so they've been taught to brush over their frustrations and put their frustrations aside, rely on a crutch to like soothe the energy instead of confronting. So too many people, they're in tough situations. They're so focused on getting out of it. I'm like, focus on going through it. Because if you go through it, then you understand, oh, well, I don't like this. I don't want that. I need this. I can't tolerate that. Here's my threshold, right? And so I think if people learn how to go through it, they understand the parameters of their own self, and that gives birth or gives realization to what their desires are. You know, and I say your desires is a spec sheet to your soul, and that's how you know who you are, right? Not by the facades, not by the identity, not by like Dave was saying earlier, not by the likes, not by the comments and all that stuff, or positive or negative. It's understanding this, what you've learned about your soul through these tough situations that you're going through.
Yeah, and you can't be afraid of the Eris represents discord and strife and throwing just this huge kind of like, oh my gosh, she throws the golden apple in and everybody's all about vanity and all the gods start causing chaos, right? Well, the chaos is within you being like, I'm this, but I'm really not this. It's a mask. You can't wear a mask anymore of a personality at all. It's not going to work out. And so your fear of the emotional toll that, this is going to create chaos because I'm going to be who I am. It's the opposite. Because with Mars and Pisces still, it's cutting out what no longer the soul will work for you. And so the universe right now is going to take everything out of your life if you're your true self. It'll be super easy. You'll just go through it, though. I love that you said that, Scott, because you have to go through it. You can't just like avoid anything anymore or go, you know what, I'll do that next week. I'll do that. That's a problem with Pisces. I'll do that in a month. No. There's no more time for that anymore. And so the chaos actually is what builds up, because if we go to the next new moon by like April 17th, it'll be the most planets we've ever seen in Pisces. It's going to be 7 energies in Pisces. I mean, sorry, in Aries. Last time we saw the most planets in any sign was in 2013 in Pisces. Now it's moving to Aries. And so you don't have much time to own that, because the real chaos will be you showing up to the party as in your Halloween costume and not really who you are. You know what I mean? That'll be the most chaotic thing that ever happened in your life.
Yep. And that's why this theme for me is preparation, because my heart and soul wants to prepare my clients for that. This way they experience like the glory of like, wow, like I can see the new world. Wow, I'm enjoying this evolution, right? And so that's a big reason why I went on, joined social media, is for that purpose. Actually, a couple of years ago, I met Christopher, and then now you, right? And so, and I think that's our mission, guys, is to prepare people, plain and simple,
Lead by example, lead out loud. Not to be cliche, but I think seriously, I have to. For me, it's just like be what I preach. The truth for me is, I go, oh shit, I didn't even know I was pretending. I'm such a good pretender. Myself didn't catch it. I'm so busy and focused on what I want to do. I look at the stuff and I'm like, oh shit. There's like an emperor has no clothes kind of moment where you're like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, oh, didn't even notice. So that's for me. And I think. And if you're real caught in yourself, we literally are waking up and didn't realize that was a thing. And that's what ascension is. Like, oh, that's a thing. You don't even realize there's like layers of, I guess, observing yourself from different perspectives and laying off the fake shit. I mean, we're all pretending. Look at the 50s, man. It's like, did they really pretend like that? Or is that just the TV? It's like, we were told that, though. I mean, we were told
that was Pluto and Leo.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. As a baby boomer,
right? So with Pluto and Aquarius, everybody has a problem, but yet it's almost like with Saturn being in Aries and sextile to Pluto, this is the last sextile, and then we have to wait till the trine when Saturn comes into Gemini, which is years away. So it's kind of like, this is a restructure moment, and the only thing that's going to be restructured is only if you allow it to be completely restructured and completely transformed. And that's where the solutions will pop up and the unpredictable will happen. If you're your true self, that's where the surprise will happen. If you're going to just hold and contain this version of yourself that's not you, no surprises will happen. No solutions will be found. There'll be no Aquarian pop and excitement and, oh my gosh, and the way that things just click. And honestly, nobody's going to want to click with you, because they can feel now that ain't who is that? Right? Like, that's what we're seeing with the war stuff for the media, right? Is we could be like, that ain't that person. Who is that?
Yeah. As an Aquarius, I must say, as an Aquarius, Dave, I'm very proud of you to hear you say that in the age of Aquarius. As a Leo.
I think
because like the problem with Leo when Pluto was there in the 50s is people put on a show, right? Like, oh, I'm the wife and I'm the husband, and I'm gonna go into my room and I'm gonna drink my whiskey and I'm gonna listen to my record player, and my wife is just gonna do the dishes. And that's it. And everybody else is doing the same exact thing. And we're all going to have a 57 Bel Air that's in the garage. You know what I mean? And on the weekends, we're going to have a barbecue. Like, it was like.
That's true. Now they're putting on a show on OnlyFans now. People are putting on a show there. Like this, we've really flipped. I think.
Well, the owner died of cancer at 43 this week.
Cancer, yeah.
Of OnlyFans?
So with all those billions of dollars, he didn't think about sound healing.
More like you talk to, the world's innocent in it being nude is what it is. So you might have gotten what you asked for
Look,
there.
I think it's now the important time that people understand the integration of individualism and collectivism, because we've been so focused on individualism. We have to understand how that interacts with the collective, and so that's what the Age of Aquarius is for me. Is a balance between individualism and with the collective, and what's going on in the collective. So I think we should be really focused on that aspect, and then we find our identity. Because how better to find your new identity is to bounce it off other people, right, and have reflections to other people and integration with people.
I was going to ask Chris with the step system, right? If Aries is 1 and Aquarius is like 11, like how do people really understand that identity and to come into that collective with your step system?
Well, actually, I think the system takes care of itself. Honestly, if you just be who you are, God will rearrange it naturally. It's done. Program, I think we're naturally attracted, going back to Scott's stuff too, we're naturally attracted to a vibe of a person. And that vibe is like a synthetic, it's like a spiritual, I don't know, it's an energetic recognition of yourself in a way. And so if you just be yourself, you'll find versions of yourself, I think. That's what happens with me. I think the cool thing about the Age of Aquarius is, oh my God, it's cool to be me. Like, it's finally cool to be who you are inside. You're like, it's cool to be me. And you can enjoy it. We've been told since the Bible, like, you're a sinner. You're going to hell. You're already imperfect before you open your eyes. And it's like, it was a lie, first of all. I'm starting to see that. Like, we were lied to and misled big time. But the flip side, even of the lie and the conspiracy is, oh my God, it's cool to be me. And I get to explore who I am. And I'm not going to have apologies anymore. I mean, that's partly what I've come into. Freedom, true freedom to be who you really are.
Well, isn't like, so Mars is 9, right?
Okay, we're going with this. Yeah, Mars is 9. So
Mars is 9 and Aquarius is like 4, right? Because it's Uranus. 4. Right. So
makes
if
13.
People identify who they are, that's where the only 4 kind of revelations can happen. Like, I guess, in the way that if I look at this Aries and Aquarius connection, that,
well, Aries is always the doer anyways. And multiplier 9, it's interesting mathematics, what 9 does to any equation, right? But it's really 4 is the door to all reality, right? But 9 plus 4 is 13, which is 4, the door to reality. So that's when you add a 9 to it, you always end up with that, what you started. I think we go multidimensional. It comes down to, here's the important numbers. 1, which is Leo, that's your heart. That's where the love is coming from in the first place. Then 4, where does it belong, this love, basically? And then 9's like, let's do this. That's the vibration. It's more about the rhythm now. We call it rhythm. Yeah. About vibes. We'll be selling vibes in the future.
Well, how do people truly, like, I think where we could help people the most, truly, like, when they ask themselves, like, is this me? Like, because that could be hard for people. I know for other, especially for like Leo rising and stuff, it's no problem. But not everybody's like that.
You have to, first of all, create privacy. You need a boundary 0, and you have to say, okay, this is private behind closed doors, because people won't be able to look in their hearts unless they feel safe. So once you feel safe, you basically ask yourself candidly, like, it doesn't have to be out, no one has to know, does your heart kind of like this? Do you love this or not? You don't tell anyone, but does your heart love this? Because if your heart loves it, it's you.
That also takes, and that takes practice too, though, so people to differentiate their thoughts versus their feeling. And so, like, intentional meditation is good for that, because then we can start observing our thoughts. That's why I think meditation is great for beginners, because you get to observe your thoughts, realize, okay, there's just this feed that keeps going on, but I feel something contrary. So we have to teach ourselves that. It's almost like when you go to the gym for the first time, and understand discernment versus thought. And I think once you find that, then you understand, you can answer those questions. Is this me? Do I really want that? What am I being pulled to? I resist this. That becomes more clear. But I just think people should be more, who are starting out to figure out who they are, is to get more into intentional meditation. I would say always enter in meditation with intention, not just like I'm sitting there quiet, unless your intention is to be quiet. But I find a lot more people having a difficulty finding out who they are or knowing what it is to feel what they are. And so that's what I tell people.
Feelings are, feelings are misunderstood. First of all, I'm amazed that we have such poor, feeling education on the planet. Nowhere do you learn to feel. I have actually a product I came up with, which I'm developing now. It's called emotional improv, because I think people need to sort of practice their emotional problems and have little games where they practice it, because otherwise you're not going to do well. If someone's really effed up emotionally, I'll say, take an acting class, because an acting class is the only thing I can think of that actually works with emotion, actually works with it, talks about it. What's the emotional motive of this character in this scene, that sort of thing. That's the only place I can think where it's actually taught. For people who are
they do psychodrama, because I was in group therapy back in 2015, and I would play a role for whoever in the group therapy, whatever their issue was, And then they would bring up the situation, and then we would all play the roles. And then it also helps you, though, as the participant, to understand somebody else's thing and look at your own life, while at the same time it helps the person reenact the whole situation. It's sad, though, because, like, you know, most people are like, you know, to do group therapy is a bad thing. Like, I'm a mess up if I end up there.
Who says that?
That was the best thing that ever happened in my life.
Mr. and Miss Perfect, they're talking. I don't think so. Everyone has
people they're afraid to be transparent. People who say that, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it's always good to have someone to bounce emotions off to, bounce thoughts off to. That's objective and not so intertwined in your life. You know, I mean, I have a therapist. My partner's a therapist. He's got a therapist. My therapist has a therapist. Right. You know, and so I talk to people all the time. I like to be able to like have someone with a third perspective that's not invested in me.
Correct.
Yeah,
you know? Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's nice to have somebody thinking about you when you're gone. Like thinking about it. Like, I've been working on that problem you have, Chris, with you know, and they've been thinking about you and using their profession and their intellect just to worry about your problems for you, kind of. And that to me is a huge, awesome benefit of having a professional.
I actually have philosophical conversations with them. We don't really talk about problems because right now I'm pretty good. We just like shoot the shit with philosophical conversations I can't have outside actually with people because they get bored or don't want to have long conversations.
Right? Here we go.
No, seriously, will you guys shut up and get to the promo? Okay, yeah. Tomorrow, my live show, I'm doing April's energy forecast, and I'll, like every Thursday, I do live readings on top of that as well. Live one-on-one readings. It's live every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Scott Cruz, Psychic Medium on YouTube, and also ScottCruzPM.com if you want to book a one-on-one session with me. It's there as well. Happy Morgan, our producer, is like, will you fucking stop talking and get backstage?
Well, he's keeping us on track. I think we have to switch to either backstage or keep going. One of the two.
Well, I was gonna say, I told people this week, it's weird. Venus is actually just entered to where the retrograde is gonna cover, right? So next Venus retrograde is this October, and it's gonna be in Scorpio. And every 8 years, Venus retrograde comes back around, and then it's gonna come back into Libra at the end of Libra, right? So it's interesting though that Venus is actually in Aries opposing where Venus will station. And so
I know
the universe is not letting anybody get away with this BS anymore of like, I'm going to be somebody I don't want to be. Because when Venus comes 6 months from now to retrograde in Scorpio, it ain't gonna let you have or create or stay manifesting the thing that is fake, the thing that's not bringing you peace. So it's better to do the hard emotional situation now and what feels like chaos and say, no. You know, no is harder than yes for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah,
and
me.
It's interesting that Aries has a boundary because the boundary is very simple. It's just like, this is not me.
Yeah. That's a bit.
You know, somebody invited me to go see polka in Mexico. I'd say, no, that does not sound exciting.
Of course not. But I think when people actually learn to embrace that emotion that they've been resisting, it's so much easier when you actually accept and like take on the challenge. They're like, you know, I am going to work through this. Then they realize, you know, they're actually having a really healing time during the process and a joyful time to the process because they're having aha moments. I mean, I can't tell you, like, you know, when in my 30s, when I just like buried myself in healing and self-healing on my own and processing, the aha moment felt more like I was winning the lottery in a sense, because like, oh my God, that evolution is more delicious than getting the boyfriend, getting the girlfriend, getting the money, getting the job opportunity. That realization, which is what gets you those things in life. I think people need to be hungry to start seeking that, you know, in a sense. And yeah, like you said, if they don't, the rug's gonna be pulled beneath them, the crutch is gonna be kicked beneath them too. We're like, oh my God, what do I do? It's the revelation of the Bible, but the being left behind as we're evolving to 5D in a sense, consciousness. So they'll feel like they're left behind. They're gonna have to catch up. So, you know, but thankfully I'm seeing a majority of people actually, you know, people I wouldn't think waking up, you know.
The crutches were always what we're supposed to be left behind. The crutches, it's just like, oh my crutches, like, you know.
Oh, well, we definitely are on the path of wanting to be taken care of, 100%. But the AI robots are going to fix that.
An AI robot on the crutches, like redesigning them and like, oh, we could use this, guys.
A crutch keeper. It's going to like steal people's crutches. These robots. Give me that fucking crutch. Sorry.
You know the big revelation for me is I'm a progressed cancer. If you know that, step 10 years of being progressed cancer. Yeah, progressed cancer.
Yeah, you are.
I've gone through all the emotions. You know, they sucked. And I'd say it sucked, but I also have to say, you know what? When I got to the emotion, my mind had made it way worse than what it was. It was like I had been a baby leading up to it, is what it was. The actual facing the feelings is like crying, whatever it is. It sucks for like that hour or two, but then it's gone. I think emotions have to really just have a voice. Like, I think feelings are a message, a complex message from the soul. You have to play the message. If you don't play the message, it's going to self-destruct. It's going to cause problems. But if you play the message, it just disappears and it's gone. Right. It's really we're not seeing it correctly. We're not handling it correctly. But Jupiter and Cancer, I think, has brought a lot of it.
Jupiter's, you can't repress them either, because Jupiter's in there like a big, balloon right now, just like a big, Zeppelin, like blimp, like sorry. Yeah. And I think that's where people have problems with, is they repress their emotions, and then they do that for so many years and so long and so long and so long, and keep identifying off the true sense of their self. And then they're emotionally carrying something that's not theirs. And then that repression causes them to not know how to express the emotion. And when it does come out, it's difficult, but it's better to still do it, even if you're at that point, than to not.
Yeah. So basically what we're saying, guys, is just use extra lube. That's what we're saying.
I was about to use a diaper analogy, because I have like my toddler to potty train right now. It's kind of like, at some point, you got to take the diapers off, and you got to start letting them out on your own.
It's pampering. Yep. It's pampering. Honestly, most people, I think about the generations, right? You had the Pluto Gemini generation were all intellectual, cold bastards. Then they had Pluto Cancer generation, which was my grandparents, actually, Pluto Cancer, and they're the ones who were shut off emotionally, and that's how they could go save concentration camps and just head right into war, because they're emotionally numb. But then they're the parents of the Pluto Leos, who needed all this love and attention and got nothing from their grandparents, Pluto Gemini, or from Pluto Cancer. So it's like the baby boomers are fucked up. That's why I wanted to divorce. And then they have, of course, Pluto Libra's like, can we just get back together? Then Pluto Scorpio like, fuck this, I don't want to talk to him. You know what I mean? Like, you can see like just how one generation beats up the next as we go down the Plutos. And now in Pluto Aquarius, though, it's, I think, a whole new approach, right? It wasn't back in 1776 when it was there last time. I guess it was a whole new approach. The idea that you could have your own government and do what you want and vote and shit, that was like revolutionary, never been done, honestly. It was like AI of the time. So Pluto and Aquarius is interesting. We're only 5 degrees in as of today.
Well, and that's what's hard, is Pluto and Aquarius also tells us to learn to let go and disconnect, especially emotionally, right? But Pluto's very emotional.
It's more like learning ghost. That's what the Aquarius philosophy is. Yeah.
And so the contradiction of Pluto and Aquarius, Jupiter and Cancer, it's so that quincunx of like, oh, I want to hold this emotion. But then Aquarius is like, if you want to keep holding that and we're going to just sit here, we're not going anywhere. We're not going multidimensional, because if you think about a dimensional plane, you're just going to be stuck wherever the emotion is.
Of course.
And that's the bottom of the chart. That's the 4th house. That's the IC. If you just want to stay at the root and just be stuck hanging out in the dirt all day,
the basement,
basement.
It's definitely about managing emotions for sure. Because as an aqua, I became more emotional actually during this time.
Yes,
right. You've noticed that change, right?
I've seen Aquarius open up. Yes, I'm seeing Aquarius open up. They got Cancer in their 4th house. The 6th house. So it's like they're supposed to live in their emotions.
Yeah. But I find the balance of like, okay, when I have the attention emotion, I'm not avoiding it. I'm kind of addressing. So I've been like really learning that on my own personal level with that during this time too. Bringing that into balance. So
yeah, I see Aquarius is very aware that they have to deal with it, but they're still uncertain. Again, we don't have the tools. That's what I've been trying to build myself, or tools for people. Just to like practice it, because it's really not a big deal. You just have to watch it.
We can talk about those tools backstage, because we're going to go backstage now. We can talk about those tools.
Yeah, we should talk about how like Zelensky's an Aquarius and he can't handle his emotion. So he's like, you guys are paying attention to me. I'm going to go bomb these people.
Bomb these people, right?
I have theories about what's really happening over there. We'll talk about it after this.
Do it after show, yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. Until next week. Everyone's watching live right now. We love you. See you next week, huh? Beat out loud, David. Oh, that's cool. So let's talk about the music.
So we want to remix. We want to do a whole new intro, new vibe, fitting for us 3. So Dave, we're gonna have to collaborate on it.
Yeah, I just need those stems, bro.
A lot of purple. A lot of purple.
Right from you. You know what I mean?
We need to turn this music down.
What? No, I read this when it was like a quirkier show, but we want to go more divine masculine, right?
Interesting.
Mystical, ethereal, not magical.
I think we should waterfalls. You don't have to.
Damon or David.
David is his name. It's been so spot on.
And I don't know if you put it in the side of your end table or not. You like to summon your end table that you this too.
My God, you're crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if she's showing me flowers. Like relay them or redo them. These purple flowers.
Oh my God, Scott, the flowers are right there. My orchids are purple. They completely are dead.
Yeah.
Did you even know? You nailed everything, every single thing. Listen, everyone, this guy.
There needs to be a connection with like a Native American ancestry. And they're showing me a turquoise stone. Yes.
I just went to a Native American dance class and I wore this stone.
Tell me something that he told you that came true.
Everything he's predicted has come true.
I just don't see it.
Who doesn't have cancer?
It's very possible.
Camera's psychic who first questioned Brooke's cancer.
Scott Cruz.
Oh, there you won! You won!
You better question yourself. We're here to bring enlightenment, not confusion.
You might encounter negative aspects of self, but that's a freeing experience.
Because then they start realizing that they can't think outside the box. And I say, if you can't think outside the box, then who's the stupid one here? We've all co-created this matrix. So if you don't like the matrix, that's you saying that you don't like your own reality, what you're creating for yourself. So we're all equal participants of the creation of this matrix. I don't just come on here and talk repeat I'm living it.
In harmony with nature.
Step astrology is the key to unlocking your past, your purpose, and your heart. Are you ready to understand yourself better than ever before? Enlightened edutainment awaits inside the Sirius Joy Vault. Subscribers receive in-depth insight into the planetary energies with daily texts, pep talks, and more, personalized to your unique blueprint. Subscribe now for only $3.99 your first month at SiriusJoy.com.
If you're watching us on YouTube, please be kind and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Serious Joy TV. Please click like on this video, and if you don't mind, hit the bell button so you're notified so we collectively defeat the algorithm overlords. The Serious Joy Nonlinear TV network is simulcasting right now on many media affiliates, including Instagram, X.com, and Facebook, just to name a few.
Scott Cruz is popularly known for his life-changing one-on-one readings to also guide in your soul ascension journey. With life readings, get insight into your relationships, career, health, trauma healings, past life regressions, and more. Want to connect with a loved one who's transitioned? Scott's mediumship session can be the gateway to you and your loved ones in spirit, bridging the gap between the physical and the spiritual realm. If you want to enhance your own psychic ability, Scott's Intuition Builder session can help expand your psychic and mediumship abilities. So sign on to scottcruzpm.com to book your own personal session today.
If you're watching us on YouTube, please be kind and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Serious Joy TV. Please click like on this video, and if you don't mind, hit the bell button so you're notified so we collectively defeat the algorithm overlords. The Serious Joy Nonlinear TV network is simulcasting right now on many media affiliates, including Instagram, X.com, and Facebook, just to name a few.
Yes.
What up?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were running those commercials because you're waiting for us. So, so I was like, put me on. What are we doing? So I didn't realize it was a set for that. So
I was just sitting here planning in my chair, like, all right, I'm getting all jacked up on Scott Cruz right now.
That's not my choice. I was like, oh, is it too much of me on there? I don't know.
No, it's good.
What's going on, Bree? What was your thoughts on today's show?
I thought it was great. Yeah.
the comedy that comes up with you guys is really fun to watch. It's nice.
The crutches.
The light.
I was you just say the wheelchair or the organ like ripped from the house, like on the gutter.
The rug and the crutches. That was perfect.
And the organs, yeah. Well, I don't think we've hit the tip of the iceberg with our humor yet.
No, exactly.
So
I couldn't help it though. I was just like, when you said that, like I was just like, oh God, that's exactly what Left Behind is.
Right?
Crutches.
Yes.
Yeah, we still have 381 people here with us.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna keep people on my YouTube just so they can see what backstage is. So in the future shows they'll want to join.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Christopher always
said, there you go. That's normal.
Taurus.
Yeah.
He raptured away, guys. He didn't make the rapture. We didn't make the rapture cut.
He's on the street running for his crutches. Like, no.
Pantless, too, because he doesn't wear clothes when he's doing these shows.
No.
That's the emperor no clothes. Bree, you're shaking your head like as if you know. You're like,
All very Christopher. Yep, all very Christopher.
Yeah. It's just the world of politics is just so crazy right now, though. It's just, I've had, my parents actually, they voted for Trump and they jumped off that train. And I was like, thank God, but I see a lot of people kind of, I'm hoping this unifies everybody right now. And we all like look as humanity and be like, you know what? I don't agree. We don't agree. Great. And hopefully that could be the thing that brings us together. In a sense, I hope. It sounds like a fairy tale. It sounds cliche, but I'm like, I feel like there's got to be something that just draws and brings. It's a good medium for us to draw us in.
Yeah, there's got to be something different too. It can't be just go back to the same alternative. Like it just we can't sit in this heads tails coin flip every time.
It's fucking exhausting, man.
Especially because it's like they set each other up for it. It's like, I feel like right now it's like, okay, the Republicans set it up to have the problem, but we're cool with the problem, and then everybody votes left, and then okay, let's we weren't about that problem, but now we are about that problem, and now we're going to, right, and then the Republicans come back around and be like, we're gonna get rid of all the things you guys did to get rid of the problem.
Exactly, it's the same fucking swing,
same pendulum.
I mean, two sides of the same coin, and it's like we got to break that cycle, Yeah.
Well, and it can't be more perfect for the disillusionment of folks who were still thinking that they were nobly on the right side for MAGA to turn into this. Like for all of the promises to get dumped.
Even look how far the libs went. You know what I mean? They went so far with the 52 pronouns and all that stuff. And I'm in that community, and my trans friends are like, we were better under the radar. They don't like all this stuff. The propaganda was put out. People are thinking a certain side is. It really isn't. There's been a lot of those psyops going on, and people ask me about my community. I'm like, that doesn't go on in my community. Trans people are not trying to be passable. Maybe some are, but they don't care. No one's using pronouns. Maybe a few people are, right? So it got so extreme on both ends of the spectrum, and because I was not picking a side, I was getting demonized from the left and the right. The left was calling me a conservative, the conservatives would call me a liberal. I'm like, I'm neither. Can I at least stay right here? So I'm hoping more people find that balance, man.
Yeah, well, the Democrat Party used to be the party of peace, right? Everything got flipped.
Everything flipped.
And then they flip again. They just keep flipping
again. Well, because Trump first term didn't do any wars. He did a couple strikes, but
right.
This is a war, and it's almost like they keep acting like it's not. But then they call it Department of War, and then we're sending troops. And to me, it actually brought back so much. Like this last 3 weeks brought back all this. Like it's not anxiety, but just because I was during Operation Iraqi Freedom, that it's
really.
Yeah, so like I went to boot
camp.
You
were in the Army then?
I was in the Navy, yeah.
Oh wow.
So like I'm in boot camp, and then it's like, we're going to like war boot camp now because Operation Iraqi Freedom starting. So I literally get out of boot camp right as we're bombing Iraq.
Oh my Lord.
Wow.
Right? So
how old were you?
I was 18 when I joined.
Wow.
So for me to go through all that, I'm 41. I'll be 42 this year.
I'm older than you? Get the fuck out of here.
You're older than me?
I'm 44, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm the young one.
Jeez, you're the young one. Fuck. I'm always the young one. Not anymore. Jesus. I'm in the middle.
I know. I feel like being 40s is like not that big. Like I don't feel any different except for maybe like I won't put myself through stupid crap as much. That's about it. I still feel the same like age as I do as 20 and 30, and I don't feel any different. I still don't have a gray hair, so
it's interesting because I'm like, I never really gave a fuck before because I always just did my own thing, but now it's like I'm more conscious that I don't give a fuck anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm saying like with the nonsense, not so much like about people. I love people, I do that for a living, but it's just the nonsense. But I feel like I don't give a fuck, but I also want to call it out. Like that's kind of been my 40s journey.
Yeah, it has to be something you're really like super passionate to call out too, because there's a lot of stuff I want to call out, but I'm like, do I have the energy for that now? I could be putting it into something else right now. And that's what I think is hard with content. I used to do so much content all the time, and I'm just like,
no, so
do I need to talk about it too much? Some things don't need to be talked about too much anymore.
Right.
David, Kristen Carbone says, you were holding back. Bring it, man.
Was I? I mean,
were you?
I don't think I was. I think maybe they're just sometimes people have been used to my like older delivery, but ever since I became a dad,
you changed a lot, dude.
I've changed a lot. So it's like, no, somebody said the other day, like, where's the David that's just gonna like drop the bomb on us and just tell us where we're effing up and and it's like, well, I think I just did. It's just it's a different delivery now.
Yeah.
It's not like I can tell my daughter or my son, like, you guys are messing up, you're a 2.5-year-old and you can't figure this out. It's a different, I'm in a different world every day. So,
well, there's also time for that too, right? I'm sure you'll get back to that at some point. It's a cycle, because there's times I rant about stuff. People love the rants and then I don't rant. If I was ranting all the time, like I look like a fucking madman, And so I think it's good for you for this delivery. I feel like you're still just as intense. I think even when you're sitting there quiet with those eyes, I think you're still just as tense sitting there in your silence than you are when you're just out and about. So you feel just as intense to me as you always have.
Well, thanks, man.
Yeah. That's a good one. I love it.
Scorpio, it is intense, man. It's a lot of tense. And Mars too, right? Like, it's intense.
Actually, when I used to work with Chris, like, I can't even believe it's going to be like, what is 2026, 2008, like 18 years?
Yeah, 18 years because it's 20 for me since 2006. Yeah.
Like he'd get me up on these shows and I'd be like, well, what am I going to, he's like, you're a Leo, you'll figure it out. Like, let's go. I'm like, okay.
You did though.
And I did, but I remember I had done reality TV, but it was harder to do Soul Garden and be on a live camera because Chris, there was nobody doing live streams back then. Chris figured out the first live stream. So
it was through. Google had a product called what was it called?
No, we were using Ustream.tv that IBM eventually bought.
Yep, that's right. I was always going up you got to follow the tech. Actually, I'm excited because I think we're at that place again with AI. Totally. Like I haven't like completely been able to submerge into it, but I know I can't wait. It's like an intense Lego set, basically, is what it seems like. And
actually, Chris and I did a Zoom like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago for like 2-3 hours, and I gave him like my here. You want to see how to make some crazy stuff?
Nice.
What's amazing about it is if you don't know what to do, ask it.
Yeah,
it's like that's what drives me crazy. It's like here's an invention. Well, for the most part,
I've been having to correct ChatGPT a lot. Like that's not how this program works.
It's not perfect.
No.
It's not perfect.
It's not perfect for sure.
But you're not going to YouTube to watch videos and learn it real quick. You're not having to do all that shit, that research. You're not having to learn anything. You're just saying, "Hey, can you do this?" It's like, "Yes." Can you do this? You kind of with this. It's like, shit.
But Christopher, I was just say this in benefit of you. Like so you kind of took, David under your wing to a certain degree, right? And then you kind of took me under my wing. Yeah, you took me under your wing. So you got to both of us here. You kind of took under your wing and got us started in a new direction of our journey, right? Because I want to
work with cool people. That's why. It's selfish. I mean, I think that right now I'll say this to anyone watching too. There's a moment with AI, guys. This moment, you can do anything for one moment. You better fucking do it.
Yeah.
Because it'll do it for you. You just have to come up with the idea. That's what I'm amazed by. This is a huge explosion of potential, and you could have a whole nother way, wave of wealthy people who deserve it because their idea was fucking cool. Very cool idea.
Right.
Because AI is going to do the rest of it. So the cooler the idea, the more intense it's going to be. It changes the wealth of the world is what it's going to do in a big way. We have to be careful citizens that no one company owns it all. We can't let this happen again with these monopoly kind of brands. This next wave of industry has got to be a lot more awake and open than it has been.
Well, that's what I think the stories we covered with AI, like,
right.
That's what's happening is these big companies, they're overbuying. They think they can do everything, and then they're realizing I got to drop that. So like the whole video gen world of AI right now is an open market for and people think, well, maybe it's Grok or it's going to be some independent company that figures out how to do it the way we all wanted to do it, and they're going to capitalize.
Dude, the Grok videos are pretty damn good.
They're
they've gotten way better.
Yeah, they got better in the last week, I think.
Yeah, because now you can have like multiple references to create a video. Now create video without a photo, and it's just now 10 seconds.
Today, yeah.
And Elon's way more like, hey, just whatever you want to do,
But
Where
it's also
like,
right, I'm sorry.
Disney was connected with that whole Sora thing, and they were pretty strict.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Grok brings humanity into it. As a person who went to film school, the things that it chooses for you, it chooses everything for you. The set, the people, like it makes most of the choices. You say, here's the idea. It makes most of the choices. And those choices that it makes are all relevant to our culture, what we expect, not out of whack within, I'm talking about on Grok. And little nuances too, little jokes, little Easter egg kind of Elon Musk things too. That's the intelligence to me. I think on the one you've shown me, David, from Soren, was it?
Yeah, it was Sora, but now
not as warm. Not as warm.
Yeah, I mean, Sora was definitely very like techie, like how I showed you, like use this cinema camera with that lens as if it was, and set the scene up in that way, and do a pan shot that's on a crane, and that's how it would look that way. But of course, I'd use AI to make that. But
yeah.
Right now, what sucks is like for any of my like sites, I want to be able to like have the horoscope and show you a video of what a prediction of your day might be, right?
Right.
So we were at that point with Sora because we had the API, and I was training it to be, but it's expensive, right? So it was like, the cost will eventually start to come down. Well, that just went away. So I think Grok will probably put out an API to create videos in your own app. And then it's like, that'll be when it's over.
Besides, what's like comparable to Sora though, that you can do prompting like that?
ByteDance's, they have their.
I'm amazed at ByteDance in the game.
The Chinese that are the kings of video gen.
That's the same people that made TikTok, obviously, right? The original.
Yeah, correct. Yep.
In China, or Japan. It's China. The Chinese, yeah.
Yeah, there's another one called like Kling with a K, and that's all.
Yeah, try Kling.
Like, there's a bunch of them, but I would say for just any person to be able to go on their phone, it would definitely be Grok right now.
Yeah, Grok has been the most accurate when I do a prompt. It's been the most accurate.
I'm impressed with the Grok. I really am, and getting to it. I know Elon. It's like I don't know him, but it's just watching him through the years. He's far advanced, and they're testing stuff way beyond what we see here. The stuff that's getting hit the market now is the stuff that stopped breaking, basically. Once it stops breaking, they fix the bugs, and they release stuff. I think is the way it works.
Hey,
it's gonna go farther.
Speaking of Elon, we didn't really touch on that headline, but did you get that a digital agent that can run software workflows end to end? Like,
so I'm not quite sure what that means. I mean, like, give me a case.
Emulates the entire function of a software company.
Well, of one software or the company. It's like Adobe makes several products. So is it going to take over Photoshop or Adobe?
What it would be a bunch of agents that have computer access, right? That then would create
computers running itself
and run it and run computers that are running the software. So what he's creating is like a sim city, a sim world of AI agents on actual computers running a software company and building it, and then running all the different parts of it.
Letting it be its own self. It's autonomous.
Yeah.
I think the number one word for the future is sovereign. That's versus independence or freedom, which it was last time Pluto was in Aquarius. It's sovereign now. And that would be a sovereign software company, like, right? It's
right.
It's on AI. It's deciding how to compete in the market. It's analyzing the market trends, everything, right? That's crazy.
Yeah, and it would be interesting to let it be free market and let them go until, because that reminds me of like how Bill Gates stole from Xerox the mouse, right? Xerox is the one who created the mouse.
Yeah.
And then it was like companies back then were making all this stuff in the 70s, and then like Microsoft is just built upon stealing all the pieces.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And Jobs stole all the interface. Are we kidding?
Yeah. Oh, I know.
I mean, Xerox is an idiot. There's a brilliant people working there, and everything they invented got stolen. Like,
there was another big story this week about Apple because of their deal with Google for Siri, that they're trying just Siri as an application, and that in the deal that Apple is able to take Google's AI model and do whatever they want to it, whatever they want.
Well, they need to, because Siri right now is so behind, dude.
So bad.
It's so behind.
And Gemini sucks. I mean, I'm sorry.
Right, it does.
So they need each other, those two.
Yeah, so there's going to be something, because I have an Apple Vision Pro and I'm on all the betas, even on my Mac. I got the beta on my iPhone, so I'm always like ahead of what people see. In an Apple Vision Pro, Siri's a full 3D orb that's spinning in front of my face now, and it's going to have all these new functions to like run whatever you want. So I'm like, okay, they're already starting to drop it. So I think in the next like couple weeks, we're going to see a new Siri pop up in all of our phones.
She's going to be like a hologram, like a hologram in your house. Like, you know, like
you could probably change that avatar to not be an orb and be, I don't know, whatever you want it to be, you know. That's where Google wins, though, I think, is like in their video production is actually really, really good.
They've got the algorithms. I mean, they've got, I'm amazed that a Google, analyzed video will be still smaller file size than pretty much anywhere else. I mean, YouTube has amazing stream quality, really, for how low the bandwidth is. Like, they've really maximized that compression.
Well, and they have YouTube with all of the training for people who didn't turn off training on their YouTube.
Oh, really? Okay, interesting. Maybe
right?
No.
So I think Google will win the video war at the end.
Yeah, but they lost a website. They lost a case today. Apparently, they're responsible for children. Yeah, for children.
Well, did you see it was TikTok and Snapchat that settled with the girl? Right? They were like, "We don't want to go to court, so we'll give you the money." And it was Meta and Google that were like, "No, we're going to fight this."
Oh my
and
God.
Now they lost. And so now, when it comes to teens and kids, which actually, I mean, we didn't have that growing up.
No.
But part of me thinks about, that there's a bigger plan of one money base, and they're like, here's the thing. We're going to make it seem like TikTok and this place is safe, where we actually grab all the data. And YouTube, you owe us a fall. You're a fucking billionaire. We'll let you get $1 billion on us. Right. It's us to let you get $1 billion. So we're going to say, you take one now for the team. I think it's more of a mobster kind of thing in the background, corporate mobster.
Of course. Yeah, of course it is.
It seems arranged. It's your turn now to take one. Because it seems like everyone knows about it. The public knows about it. It's on Reddit. It's it's posted everywhere, this stuff, and we pretend like it's not. That's where stopping pretending to be interesting. Can we stop pretending that we have a Congress?
Right.
Can we stop pretending that there's democracy? And every vote counts. Can we stop pretending these things? Because we all know and talk about it. And, of course, we get yelled at in the media or something if we, conspiracy theorist or fringe or whatever. If you dare to say what everyone knows. Also, like IRS, like I thought we're not supposed to be taxed in income tax. Like we're not supposed to be. From what I understand, all the research, everything. Yeah. How the fuck did that happen? Thanks, Roosevelt.
That's just so. I mean, I don't get me started with income tax. So unethical. Like I have to pay to work because I'm working. I got to pay you to some. And I don't. For me, I think legally you're supposed to be able to designate where you want your taxes going to. Like, say, if I want mine to go to education, we don't have that option. It just goes into the cesspool of power hungry
yeah, they want $200 billion for the war right now.
No, $200 billion for a war we already won, right? We already won.
We got to refill all the coffers and turn up all the bomb making again.
Yeah.
But we're the criminals if we don't pay taxes. But we're the criminals.
I bet you this war is already settled. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the Iron Bank lending to the Iron Bank lending to the Iron Bank, getting it all back with interest. It's like it's one bank pretty much making money off the entire thing.
That's what the Epstein files revealed. I know that was like a story, but we didn't cover it about how the one of the Rothschilds paid Epstein $250 million.
Yep.
Maybe it was 25 million or something like that, right? To get out of a case. And so then now finally after the Epstein stuff, it's weird that Europe is going after and England's going after everybody in the Epstein files, but America, we're just like, no,
we're just like, no, it's all good.
I think they're like the cat needing for milk. They're just getting the Americans ready. Like, this is what it's going to look like. Here, it's coming to you. It's coming to us. We're not going to skip it.
Better.
I guess with these cases, however, there's going to be discovery, and they're going to be demanding more details.
There are still pushing. Yeah, there are people in Congress that are still pushing and releasing stuff. I mean, especially the Doral Ranch that Epstein had. Like, how did just miraculously won a lottery for $85 million?
I know he won the lotto like 3 times.
I mean, come on.
I just read that there's a huge telecommunications setup there that's like spy grade telecommunications on Zorro Ranch that was like it changed ownership, but they didn't shut it down. They didn't shut it down yet.
Well, didn't they turn it into like some sort of Christian retreat now, or allegedly?
That is just.
That would be scary to be like, hey, it's like when you buy a house with somebody who died in it. Like, hey,
by the way,
I had to disclaim to you that there was
this corridor. If you follow me here, everyone.
Into the basement.
And did you hear that somebody, like a local person, has shared aerial photos over time of the Zorro Ranch, and there were graves. They could. They've showed these aerial photos. Yeah.
That's where they manufactured their jerky, right there.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that would be a Halloween. That would be a scary Halloween place to go.
Red pill time.
It's hard to even laugh about that because it's so serious, but it's true.
I laugh about it. Yeah, it's bad.
And it's weird too because you had all the scientists there, and that's actually where the whole atom bomb and the whole Manhattan Project. It was in New Mexico when they were right, so it's like it's by that.
It's kind of a quiet state. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
It is, and it's like a mile-high state. Like most of it's 5,000 feet up. Whenever you're driving through New Mexico, your gas gauge, especially now, I looked outside right here. It's $6.60 for premium, $6.30 for regular.
Yeah, it's high here too. For here, it's high.
And then diesel, it's $7. I have a diesel truck. I'm like,
it's ridiculous. Who would have thought?
I'm curious how the war is affecting you guys there where you live. I live in Canada, but is it like actually like within your?
It's gas mainly.
It's gas.
I'm seeing food prices go up too.
Beef, especially.
Let's be honest. It's them taking advantage of us. It's not a real cost. I don't feel.
It's not. It's
OPEC decided to raise prices on gas. It's like, fuck you, dude. We get that's where the war should go. It's like, who are you just to raise the price out of nowhere and take advantage of an emergency situation? They just do it. They rape all the whole world for money at that time, and everyone. And it's the small families. It's the small business. They get hit. The ones with incredible wealth ties don't go down. And so over time, it just comes down to washing out the little guy from those type of things.
It takes weeks for the trucking companies to be charged that much, right? And then go through all the Department of Transportation and pay their fees and all that, to where now when it gets on the shelves in the next week or two, it'll be like, well, we got to increase because it costs that much to bring it to us. We haven't seen that yet. So,
yeah. Huh.
Plus, the Strait of Hormuz has been closed for 3 weeks straight. So, and that's petroleum's used in every product, plus all the fertilizer.
Yeah,
so
government shut down,
Ziploc bags, everything.
The government shut down, but yet we can't pay TSA employees. But somehow we could fund ICE agents to go do the security. I mean, to me, I think the ICE agents just like random people off the street, basically, just collecting
because
people.
they're not even wearing their outfits; they're showing up in civilian clothes.
Right. And they're like 25 years old, don't have arms, don't have like
I think it's an excuse though, because Trump is saying he's going to do the National Guard now for the TSA, but that's to move it throughout America.
You think this is deliberate though?
Yeah. For sure.
Yes.
I mean, the fact that the Democrats are doing that looks bad because of not because of like, the elections. It just looks bad. Like you're now allowing it to be to where now the National Guard will be all throughout America, and then whatever comes next, it won't be about TSA. It'll be like, we just happen to be here.
Right. Exactly. Well, I mean, like you said, they reserve now aliens.gov or alien.gov. I saw that too. So I was feeling like they were going to release that the aliens exist to blame shit on the aliens. Oh, the aliens did it. Oh, the aliens are going to do this when it's really them. You know what I'm saying? I always thought there's going to be a distraction with the aliens and the ET.
I thought it was interesting all the meteors in the last week too.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's
like,
right, huh?
All over the world, and even in
Yeah,
America.
what is that? Yeah. Go ahead.
It's
What was
like-
it? It was like everywhere, meteor showers everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like, you know, in my life, paying attention to the sky, I've never seen that many meteors like come down on Earth and actually show up above people's homes and like,
yeah.
And then one chunk went through some woman's house in Arizona. I saw the news on that one. I thought that was, she was just like, I was just watching TV, and then just this meteor comes down and goes through her roof and goes into her living room, and it didn't hit her, thank God. But it's like, there's those stories, you know, but it's just like, oh, we're in that time, like, you know, like as everything else is going on, like you don't know when a meteor might come down as you're like trying to fill up your gas can for $7. Like, oh.
It's crazy if you've been watching all this stuff for a long time, because it, you know, it's like cue the aliens, cue the fucking it's just been like that, like the Epstein. Okay, now cue the war. Now cue the aliens. Like,
have you guys seen the Illuminati playing deck card from like the 80s? Like each card like predicts these seasons. Have you seen that, Morgan? Because I know you're in
the movie. Yeah.
No, it's like a card game from the 80s, and it predicts like all these eras and Trump, the alien, all this stuff. And so it's called the Illuminati card game. There's a video. I think
that is our tarot deck on this show. Do tarot readings with that.
I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it.
Cool.
I'm gonna buy them actually.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And dude, another thing, they've been spraying like crazy. I don't know. They've been spraying like massively.
They are doing everything all at once. It's like,
because I get when they spray, because I know my body reacts. I get muscle pain, I get neck pain, I get headaches when they spray. Every single time.
Allergies bad.
Bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder,
like,
is there allergies, or is it just fucking poison in our system? You know what I mean?
It's the poison. The allergies is from the shit but they're spraying.
Yeah, exactly. As I'm saying, I mean, how bad are allergies? I mean, all the cold medicines and everything. It's like maybe it actually wasn't. Grandma didn't talk about it being that bad, but she was growing up. You know?
Oh, it was also weird that the coldest temperature ever recorded at the spring equinox in Antarctica was just recorded. It was like a negative 112 degrees.
Well, so that's the thing. That's the thing about climate change. Okay, like from what I hear, there's a whole school of thought that it's getting colder, not warmer, and that's because the sun is chilling out. It's going through a chill period where it's less fiery. It sends less fire to our planet, and as a result, we cool off.
And the sun doesn't even look yellow anymore. It looks white.
Well, and apparently this thing happened just somewhere between the American Revolutionary War and, you know, the next cycle of their history. There was like some, you know, a summer that never came or something. Actually, it was actually during Huckleberry Finn time, because it was Walt Whitman who wrote that quote, I think. It just, there was no summer one year in the United States. They had no food. Like, they didn't grow the food.
Yeah.
And they had enough in storage. Back then they were practical enough. They did okay. And there's
something wrong with that fucking food too. Like the strawberries are not strawberries anymore. They're just some weird anomalies. I think they're testing out like geoengineered foods and just kind of like blending it in, see people will notice, and trying to get people to adapt to geoengineered foods. I feel like they're doing that too.
Oh yeah, I cut an apple for my daughter all the time. She wants apples slices, and we get organic apple, and it's like, I'm like, where's the juice? Like in the apple, like
where's the juice?
It's like it feels like a freeze dried apple or something.
Really?
It's really weird. I'm like, I remember like it was juicy.
Well, a lot of them say it's because they're the way they're trying to manufacturing it now, just because of timing. So they're saying it's actually not geoengineered, just they're shipping things sooner because of long delays. And so I was watching some documentary about that, but I don't know. There's some things too. I feel like they're actually might be interjecting that geoengineered food. There's actually labels. Some things have labels on it saying they're geoengineered.
Well, it has to be, because I'm friends with David Avocado Wolf, and like he came and stayed with me and did a show like back in 2020. And so he knows like all the different farmers that don't sell to the public, right? And he'll just go and he'll fill up the whole bed of his truck just of different fruits and vegetables. It's crazy.
I would do that.
But
I would totally
when you
do that.
have it from him, and these are like farms that have been around and places that are like 300-400 years old, even in America, right? And you pick it off there, and it's all natural, and it's like the real deal. Like, wow.
I used to work at an organic grocery store, and back in like early 2000s, there were conferences of the organic certifying bodies. And back then they were trying to push it through that you could grow any non-organic seeds on organic soil and call it organic.
Ugh.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep, they did that. Yep.
That's because
and the glyphosate that's around too on everything, and then now the new map of cancer is like hovered around the Midwest, but it's all glyphosate fields, and then Central California where all the farming is. If you look, it's where all the glyphosate's used and sprayed on everything.
Wow, which is Agent Orange, right? Like the company
basically
they ran out of Agent Orange was no longer being purchased in Vietnam, and they needed a new product, and they developed glyphosate. And apparently, they tell the story. I don't know how romantic it is, but some dude like spilled the whatever it was, the practice stuff on the grass. They noticed the next day it's all dead. Everything's dead that it's spilled on. Now, if you're working on something in the lab, you're really going to spill it in the grass. It sounds kind of hokey, right? But nonetheless, that's what it does. It's an herbicide. It kills everything. But
I think they're trying to definitely control our crops, because do you remember back then we saw those blue laser beams that were like, targeting, like blowing shit up, and they're like these blue lasers, and it was also target like everything but the color blue, so I think they were doing
Oprah's house in Hawaii. Yeah.
I was just going to say, that's the story, right?
They did it with crops, they did it with all these other things. So they're definitely trying to control, I hate to say the word abundance, it sounds so fucking cliche, but they're trying to control our level of abundance for sure. They don't want us to be prosperous, obviously.
Well, that's always the case. I think it's always the case. Right? You're right, though.
Dude, the Illuminati card deck is...
Wouldn't like hydroponic work for crops? Like if we were to do that?
We've got to do local. You know what? The fact that we ship something on a plane that was grown somewhere else in the world is stupid. It's like that plant is dead the whole time, so you're not getting much life force. You're not getting much life force as you fly it across, and they freeze it often. It's like we really need to have, if we have a greenhouse or whatever, just grow the food locally, have it there, save money on gas.
Yeah, because good luck finding a banana tree here.
Well, I think it's going to be
or like rubber is a tree and it's all in Africa, and I bet you they don't do glyphosate or nothing. That's why rubber just keeps coming out of Africa. No problem.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right. So obviously, that's what's really weird. I in every like space movie you watch, it's like they do hydroponic, right? It's just like okay,
right. Yeah.
Even I remember back in the old weed days, it was like, oh yeah, that's what all the best King's Cup guys that used to win in a hydroponic.
Yeah.
Speaking of the wind, Trump is like wants to pay like what $200 million to not produce those windmill turbines. Have you heard that story?
Well, those things are a pain in the ass, anyways. From my here, it's like they can't be recycled. The blades can't be recycled. It takes like a fucking truck to stop traffic to bring one of those things down the road.
And it takes massive amounts of oil to lube them all the time.
Yeah,
but do we need to be spending $200 million on that now to like not produce them now? It just seems like so.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Seems like a weird. Like spend money to stop something.
Like why? Yeah, that's. I don't know if you guys heard that, but yeah, but like why now?
It almost seems like somebody needs 200 mil somewhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
I read everything now. Like, I guess somebody needs 200 mil.
Clearly, Trump got decapitated by a mill in his past life because he hates those fucking mills. That's all he talks about. Those windmills.
Well, if you drive through you've driven through the fields. I mean, there are hundreds of them. It's kind of weird. Like I drove through Texas.
Palm Springs.
Palm Springs has it, but in Texas too. I was driving through way on the side of Texas, and I couldn't believe it. It was like just as far as the eye could see.
Yeah,
and just spinning, these wheels spinning. It's like.
But remember, it was 2021 when that deep freeze happened, and they all stopped.
Yeah.
Froze over.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah. That was sus. I think honestly we've been creating weather for a long time. I think
now with drones, those are an even bigger risk, right? Just throw a couple drones at them.
Oh yeah.
Well, isn't it wild that like the chemtrail thing? 25 years ago we were witnessing the film coming like on every car after the planes go by, and we were just ridiculed for like looking at the unmarked planes, but now they've just quietly admitted to all of it.
I know.
Quietly, everybody's like, because we've been so saturated with all these shock and awe things that nobody fucking notices that the chemtrails have been like admitted to. And
I tell people just look up. When you look up, you see a line, and then within an hour, it's spread like this film everywhere. You might start thinking maybe it's not just exhaust.
Yeah, if it was a vapor trail exhaust, it would dissipate.
It would dissipate. It hovers all day and it settles.
It hovers till the next day. You can see it the next day. Like this weekend when they were doing it, I went out the next morning and I'm like, it's still there and there. It hasn't moved.
In Palm Springs, right? It's in a valley, so it used to see it sit there. Now there's an airport in Palm Springs. If it was from the airport planes, it would be happening every fucking day. If it's the airplanes, if it's normal, but it's not. And so, to me, that's one thing that really aggravates me the most when I see that. And I always feel my joints are fucked up. My parents are the same. They're always the same thing that I have when they start spraying all the time.
Well, so what do you think it is? Why do
to make you sick? Obviously, it's to make you sick. Yeah, I mean, I think actually Gary Lyman, a buddy of mine who runs Honey Garage, he's got his theories, and mostly it's to dehydrate us. Like apparently this gets rid of the electrolytes big time, which then just the body starts collapsing after that when you don't have good water. So it's really about eliminating the water in you. And I think it's actually eliminating water in the environment. I think a lot of this desertification, as they say, could be the elements just landing on the ground, just for something about the way they absorb. I'm not sure how it works. But
that would make sense, though. I mean, honestly, a dehydrated person is gonna definitely not do as well, and we're not
if you're
really
tired.
You kind of have to build an addiction to remembering to drink the amount of water that you do. It has to become a ritual.
It's overstated there, and maybe that's so we consume plastic.
Right. And that's a bigger problem. So like now they're finding. I've watched a lot of shows, right? So like men who drink out of plastic all the time, their testosterone levels are horrible, and then their sperm count is down to nothing, and then they're pulling them away from plastic and not adding testosterone, and they're getting it all back, and then their sperm counts are going up. It's literally the microplastic thing is like probably part of the whole spraying as well. It could be a microplastic.
But do you think our grandpa's generation had a problem with hard-ons? I think erections, all these erectile dysfunction pills and stuff. It's
insane.
Like, there's no old guy back from the 20s and 30s saying, I can't get it up. It didn't exist.
Back during the Nazi times, Hitler times, didn't they use fluoride to make the troops complacent back at that time? The theory is they used fluoride to made the troops complacent. And so I think with the fluoride in our water, and especially during these rough times, I see the spraying the most. I think it's to keep people complacent, keep people tired, keep people not focused, keep people less discerning,
Well, they
so
were
it's
all
like
on meth, so it was like, let's try to find a way to give them the meth, but keep them contained. So it's like, give them the fluoride and the meth.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But it all feels really tied to disconnecting, like any awakening, vibrational, psychic, anything, right? It's all tied to sterility. So don't bring in these high vibe babies. It's all tied to like you shutting down your intuition, the stuff that you understand, the way that you can co-create us out of all of this control.
Yeah,
that's actually it right there.
It's 100% right there. 100%.
Even when they're doing the skies, it's not letting the natural energies come through. Like the Hindus believe, right, that it comes through down through our crown. So it's like you're spraying that on top of a car. It's going on top of your crown.
Yeah.
Like,
but even with the metals, but in the metals that we could be probably within the chemtrails, metals and maybe certain vaccines, and they can use those metals to alter frequency in the body. I believe, like I can go far out with conspiracy with that because I believe all the metals, technology they can utilize, not so much 5G in itself, but they use 5G to trigger those who have those metals and affect their well-being, their thought processes and so forth to keep them complacent.
Antiperspirant had aluminum the whole time. Now it's like nobody gets antiperspirant. You just get deodorant that has no aluminum. It's all natural. It's easy to do.
They're dumbing down something because the level of stupidity has been astonishing to me lately. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you really believe this? Like, it's been more than I've ever seen. Actually, on this level,
and they spray aluminum. That's like one of the main ingredients, right?
Well, have you heard that like these projects like HARP, like the HARP is up in Alaska? It's like a huge, hundreds of acres. It's all one antenna, and they can just tune into one layer of the ionosphere. And at any given time, there's like all these electrical storms happening, and they can harness that energy with these metal particles that they're dispersing in the
Right.
atmosphere.
That's true.
So then they can use that to stir up weather patterns or accentuate them. So like we have these superstorms and all that kind of stuff. That's been going on for decades.
Yeah, HAARP's
People,
old,
wake
but
up.
they still, you can't cut the power off there. They have backup power on those HAARP antennas.
And there's more than just HAARP. There's others like that,
that
elsewhere. So, yeah, it's wild. Wild.
I got to
wild.
run, guys.
Yeah, I think it's time to wrap up.
That
too.
was a great show.
Yeah, great show.
It was good.
Thanks to all the 360 people who are still here.
Hey, that's cool.
You.
Yeah. So
hang it out.
David, like you're on board for the consistency.
Yeah, of course. I was sick last week. That's why I couldn't make it on.
No, I know. I just want to make sure because then we can really rebrand the show.
I'm gonna turn off.
My son and I must have got whatever he got.
Oh, really?
It was
It's going around, dude. It's going
So
around.
we can turn off the you can turn off the channel singularly.
Oh,
No,
right.
I just did.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
I think it's the way to go.
Okay.
I just want to talk for a minute in privacy. Before
Okay,
everyone
so let's just say goodnight to all our
Good night, guys.
Good
wonderful
night.
people out there. Thanks for being here. And
Are you able to turn
will
off
see you
mine,
next
or do
week.
I turn it off myself?
I believe I can. Okay. Just
You turn off yours yourself. I think. I
no.
don't think he has access to yours, David, because you have so many in the package, and then anyone who signed up may have a package in this, so they can